The sun rose behind the B-17 Lucky Lark as she lumbered down the runway, her four right cyclones echoing across the fog-shrouded airfield in East Anglia. At the radio table sat Technical Sergeant Daniel "Danny" Cole, a quiet 20-year-old from Cincinnati, who spoke softly but heard everything. His crew joked that he had the ears of a hound, dog and the patience of a saint, qualities that made him one of the best radio operators in the 379th Bomb Group. Today's mission was deep, too deep, Munich, the heart of southern Germany. A target so heavily defended that men whispered its name like a curse. But orders were orders, and the Lucky Lark climbed into formation as the cold morning sky turned from grey to gold. Danny wore his headphones even before they crossed the channel. He liked feeling the world through radio waves, Morse code, static, the faint heartbeat of distant stations. It grounded him. It made him feel less like an ant in an enormous sky. What he heard today, though, unsettled him. There were fewer American fighter frequencies alive than usual. The Mustang bases were socked in by fog, meaning no long-range escort. Danny felt his stomach turn, but he said nothing. The pilot, Captain Bill Harding, had enough to worry about. Formation keeping, oxygen checks, the dreaded black flak fields that awaited them. But by the time the white cliffs of Dover shrank into the distance behind them, the truth was clear. The entire bomber wing was going into Germany alone. 2 hours later, the sky over Bavaria turned into a nightmare. The Luftwaffe came in waves. First a loose swarm of 109s, then a disciplined line of 190s, diving and climbing in perfect slashing attacks. Flak exploded like black thunderheads around the formation, bursting close enough to rattle bones. The Lucky Lark shuddered as a shell burst beneath the left wing, showering the fuselage with fragments. Danny's coffee cup leaped off the table, shattering on the deck. A second shell ripped clean through the radio room, taking out a chunk of the floor behind him. He ducked instinctively. "Radio," Captain Harding called. "You good?" "Still here," Danny replied, though his hands trembled. Another burst, the interphone crackled with the waist gunner's voice. "I got one. He's smoking." Oh hell, another pass incoming. Danny heard the high-pitched tearing sound of machine guns chewing through aluminum. The bomber lurched. The top turret guns raked the sky with tracers. Then came the dreadful sound every bomber crew feared. A sputter, a cough, and the dying groan of an engine. "Number two's hit," the co-pilot shouted. "Feathering!" Danny felt the Lucky Lark slip sideways as drag increased. The formation kept moving. The Lark couldn't keep up. They were falling behind, and every bomber that fell behind died alone. Danny swallowed hard. His throat felt dry as chalk. "Pilot, we're drifting out of the group." "I know," Harding replied through clenched teeth. "Hold on." But the Luftwaffe knew what isolation meant. 309s broke formation and arrowed straight for the weakening B-17. The tail gunner's guns barked. The right waist gun opened up. Then the tail gunner screamed, "One's coming straight in. Dead ahead!" Dead ahead. The impact shook the aircraft so hard that Danny slammed into the radio table. A 20mm shell had torn through the nose section, shredding oxygen lines and the bombardier's panel. Danny heard the bombardier choking for air before the pilot barked, "Radio, send Mayday. We're hit bad." Danny's fingers flew across the key. "SOS, SOS, SOS, Lucky Lark straggler." Heavy attack, he switched to voice. "Any Allied aircraft, this is Lucky Lark, B-17. Grid reference, static.German chatter." Then silence. Danny tried every USAAF frequency. Nothing. He tried RAF frequencies. Static. He tried bomber command relays. More static. He tried calling the escort wing again and again, even though he knew the Mustangs were grounded. No answer. The sky around them darkened with smoke as the burning remains of another B-17 spiraled downward. The smell of cordite, engine oil, and cold metal filled his lungs. Another attack run came. Bullets stitched the fuselage, punching through the thin aluminum skin. Danny felt one pass so close it lifted the edge of his sleeve. The pilot yelled, "Radio, we need help or we're finished." Danny closed his eyes. He tuned to a forbidden frequency. During training, instructors had mentioned that the RAF sometimes used low-band emergency frequencies for night fighters. American crews weren't supposed to touch them. Different encryption, different protocols. But Danny, curious by nature, had spent hours memorizing tuning patterns. Now, he dialed the unfamiliar bands, static. He adjusted again. More. Static. He tapped the mic. This is Lucky Lark. American. B-17, we're alone and under heavy attack. Anyone receiving, please respond. Static swallowed the cabin. Danny exhaled shakily. Then, a voice. British. Calm. Older. Lucky Lark. This is Nightshade 5, we read you. Danny's heart leaped. Nightshade 5, work guard, we're being cut to ribbons. Position, sending coordinates now. He tapped the key frantically, transmitting location data. Hold tight, the British pilot replied. We're only 8 minutes from your vector. We'll be with you soon. Danny froze. Night fighters, a day mission? Before he could ask, Harding shouted from the cockpit, Radio, tell them to hurry. Danny keyed the mic again. Nightshade 5, we're down one engine, losing altitude, and the fighters... A burst of gunfire ripped open the side of the fuselage just behind Danny. He dove to the deck, shielding his head. The waist gunner screamed for backup. The tail gunner shouted he was out of ammo on one barrel. Danny pressed the mic with shaking hands. Please, hurry. We see you now, Lark, the British voice replied coolly. Hold steady. Help's coming. Danny turned to the small radio room window, just in time to see one of the 109s lining up on their tail again. Then something flashed past in a blur of black. A Mosquito, a twin engine. British night fighter roared through the sky, cannons tearing the 109 apart in a single. Brutal burst. Danny gasped. 2 more Mosquitoes dropped in from above, their camouflage dark against the sun, their wings glinting with hard-edged menace. The Luftwaffe squadron faltered, then broke off. They hadn't expected company. Lucky Lark, came the voice again. Now with a hint of humor. You Yanks certainly picked a fine time to go wandering. Stay with us and we'll get you home. In the cockpit, Harding let out a ragged breath. Radio, tell them. Thank you. Danny nodded, voice shaking. Nightshade 5. Thank you. God, thank you. Don't thank us yet, the Mosquito pilot replied lightly. We're still in Germany. After all, the British fighters escorted the limping B-17 all the way back across the Rhine. Even as flak continued to reach for them and a few scattered 190s made hesitant passes, the presence of the Mosquitoes kept the wolves at bay. Danny listened to the British pilots chatting, calm, professional, occasionally throwing in a casual quip that made him smile despite the blood drying on his sleeve. Hours later, as the English coastline emerged from the clouds, the British leader's voice returned one last time. Lucky Lark, you're safe now. Glad we could be of service. And Radio Man, next time you borrow our secret frequencies, do try not to get shot at quite so much. Danny laughed for the first time that day, exhausted and relieved. Copy that, Nightshade 5. And thank you. Any time, old boy. Safe landing. The Mosquitoes banked away, disappearing into the clouds like ghosts. The Lucky Lark landed with 1 dead engine, half its panel shot away, and 4 crew members wounded, but alive. All because one quiet radio operator broke the rules. Debriefing officers demanded to know how Danny contacted RAF night fighters. He simply said, I asked for help in the only place left. The RAF's response was equally simple. He saved 10 American lives. We'll allow it. The crew of the Lucky Lark never forgot the day. They were rescued by planes that shouldn't have been there, and they never forgot the man whose fingertips found salvation hidden in the static. Technical, Sergeant Danny Cole, the radio operator who refused to give up. And because he didn't, his bomber made it home.